Hi, everyone. We gonna start the episode with an oof, Amanda?
Yeah, I am.
Oh my God. All right. Hi, we're gonna start with me angered already. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Nothing to See Here podcast. It's Frankie.
It's Hannah.
I just want to say that I oomphed right as you started talking.
Yeah, I know.
That was not meant to oomph at you.
I didn't think it was, but
No, Frankie, it was a violent oof.
It
it
was
was
not
a
a violent
violent
oomph.
oomph.
It
I'm getting
was.
conflicting reports.
She woke up and chose violence today.
I,
I'm getting conflicting reports, Amanda, about the levels of violence on this oomph.
to be fair, we did live together for 3 years. So I guess Hannah knows me very well. But I also feel like I know myself.
That's fair.
And I don't think it was violent. But now that Hannah's telling me that it was a violent oomph, I want to send a violent oomph to Hannah.
Don't
I'm
send
not
it
going
later.
Do you
I'm
want
not
to
going
fight in
to.
the Denny's parking lot?
You know what? No. I
No?
just,
Should we go somewhere
just,
classier? Should we do it at
no, no, no,
Applebee's?
no, 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 no,
At
no.
Applebee's.
We are,
Ooh. Ooh, we can get pretzels while we're there.
oh no, I'm going to stoop down to my own level, which is at some point, Hannah, when you are least expecting it, I'm going to fart in your direction. Maybe on
That's
your
so
lap.
rude. That is so rude.
And it's gonna be when you least expect it too. So
I'm going to be on the toilet.
you'll forget about it, and
You
then
you will. You'll just get a surprise visit from me. You'll be so happy, and then all of a sudden I come in just to fart at you and leave.
You drove all the way here, so you might as well stay.
Only if your
you,
dad makes food.
you'd have to
There
find
are
someone.
currently pumpkin muffins in the house.
You'd have to find someone willing to drive you there, just so you can fart on Amanda or not fart on Hannah.
I'm fine.
Um,
Get an Uber.
It's Amanda.
we can get an Uber. Yeah,
My name's Amanda.
I know. What do you mean? Oh,
I
you're
was
introducing
introduced.
yourself.
Yeah. What
He's
did you think?
finally giving her name.
I forgot.
After, like, what, 16 episodes?
No, she's given her name.
It just takes a minute.
She always just says something else. The episode I'm editing right now, she introduced herself as clinical depression.
Nice.
Oh, that's good. I forgot about that.
You can't do it
I know
again.
exactly what episode you're on, too,
Yeah.
because
Which
it's in
one
the
is it?
title.
It is it's the Pepsi v Leonard or Leonard v Pepsi.
Pepsi
Ah,
won't give this man a jet, and now I have clinical depression.
I
oh,
forgot that was your title. Yeah,
That
it's a
is the
good
title
title.
I came up with. I peaked there. You're welcome.
I liked it. I liked
It
it
is a
very
good
much.
title. But this is Amanda's episode.
The title of this should be "Fucking Crickets Suck."
Well, I don't think we should swear in the titles.
You're right. We're trying to trick all the Christians.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
here for the Christian Parenting Podcast, stay tuned because we'll be talking about children later.
Wooden children.
Eventually
Still a
real
child.
children.
Still a child.
There are real children involved in the story.
Yeah, poor horrible things happen to them.
Yeah, what we're talking about today is pretty messed up.
What
I
a leap from
I will say Pinocchio, if you haven't gathered, by the way, that we're talking about Pinocchio, you obviously haven't listened to the previous episode. And
or read the title or description for this episode.
yeah, or been listening to anything we've said about wooden boys and traumatizing.
Now, Amanda, before we get into Pinocchio,
Okay.
the little Italian puppet that he is,
Yes.
I have some questions for you about your Disney project that came to me while I was watching Pinocchio.
Ah, yes.
You've said we're going to watch every Disney movie.
Yes.
Now, while I doubt that, because we'll die before that happens,
Incorrect.
does this mean we're watching, one, the shitty remakes of these movies?
Yes.
Good God. Oh my God.
Those are a long way away, Frankie. We might not
Yeah,
get there.
I know that, Anna, but these next ones are also, I guess they're like 40 years away from the first one that is released, but I want to know because when they were released, they were not Disney movies, but now they technically are Disney movies. Does this mean we're also reviewing the Star Wars and or Marvel movies?
No.
Oh, thank
No
God.
Marvel. No Star
Oh,
Wars.
thank the Lord. I love those movies, by the way, but
I
that
do too, but I don't consider those Disney. Does that make sense? I mean, I know they technically fall under the classification, but they weren't like childhood Disney for you, me, and Hannah.
that's why I had to ask.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you're talking only childhood Disney. Oh, by the way, that does beg another question I had. I don't think I asked this. I didn't ask this because it wasn't in the Snow White episode,
Mm-hmm.
and I just edited that one, so I would
Mhm.
know. Does this also include DComs?
Disney original movies?
Yeah, the Disney Channel original movies.
No. The
No.
only
You
one
told
I
me
think
yes.
did
I
I?
asked if we were doing decoms, and you said yes.
Did I? Let me double check. Let me look at my list.
Oh God. Because there would be like a little, again, this is decades in the future when we're all old and
The High
gray.
School Musical is what you're referring to, right?
Yeah, because one of them was a Disney movie released in theaters, but the first two were not. So we would we would jump in High School Musical 3. That'd be fun,
It
actually.
would it would kind of be fun.
No remembrance or continuation from what happened. We'll just talk about it like it was the first movie from the series.
The only movie.
There's only one High School Musical movie, and
It's
it's
called High School Musical 3 Senior Year.
yeah.
I will say whenever I went to the theaters and I saw that movie 4 times.
Oh my God.
Four
Um
times.
yeah. Whenever I went to the movies the first time, I remember sitting in the theater and just hearing all of the girls scream the moment Zac Efron's face showed up, because that's the first second is his sweaty ass face
On a big screen.
on a big screen,
On
and
a
people
movie
freaked
theater
out.
big screen.
The only other time I heard girls scream that loudly was when I went to go see Hairspray.
And it was for
And
Zac
he
Zac
Efron
Efron.
on the
and
big
and
screen once
yeah,
again.
and he said, "Kiss my ass."
I mean, I kind of get that one.
So yes, the luck of the Irish I see is on here. So yes,
So we're doing decoms. All right. Okay. That answers all of my questions for now. All my opening questions. I just wanted to know the scope of this project.
it's a scope.
It's a scope.
I think we'll get through all of Scooby Doo before we're even a third of the way through Disney.
Well, the Scooby Doo has a set schedule. These are whenever Amanda feels like doing them.
That's true, but it's Amanda, so it's going to be like basically every episode she does.
Hey,
I love you. But we did pressure you into Sleepwalking Amanda episode.
We did. Pinocchio would have been a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, but me and Hannah kind of pressured you into not. Although maybe that was a good thing because we got to get a good episode out of it.
the first Disney Channel like original movie
Yeah.
is called Tiger Town.
Tiger. I've never seen that or heard of it.
I feel like you're pulling our legs.
It was made
Like you're
in
fucking with us.
no, it was made in 1983, an American
Jesus.
made-for-television sports drama film, and the first television film produced for the Disney Channel.
All right. Well, I'm excited to get to Tiger Town. Then
That's in the 80s, so
yeah, we got a
you
long
won't
way to
be
go.
is that
But
on Disney Plus?
probably.
it
I
should be.
imagine.
They have all the other ones on there.
I'm gonna look.
Do they
real-
even have The Color of Friendship?
They definitely have the color of friendship on there.
Because that one, I found that some history on that one a few months back, and it's stayed with me ever since.
The history? What do you mean?
So to this day, it's never aired in South Africa.
Oh, wow. That's bold move, Cotton.
Tiger Town is not on Disney Plus.
Oh, we'll never watch Tiger Town then. I'm not fucking
We
finding it.
must write in to Walt Disney's Ghost and demand Tiger Town on Disney Plus.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I can find it. I'm not.
No,
You
no.
don't have to watch these with me, you know.
I like to watch them though.
I haven't watched Pinocchio in full, I think, ever. So I had to watch it.
I want to watch them with you, Amanda, because one, I want to join you on this journey. And two, I would not be able to provide commentary for anything because I don't remember anything that happened. There were so many songs in this movie that I didn't remember.
Yeah, that's fair. We are ready to talk about Pinocchio.
Oh, Italian puppet.
So, first and foremost, before I even get into this, Pinocchio, in and of itself, was an Italian children's book that was made like I think like in like the 1880s or something. Welcome back. We cut things.
Don't. What are we doing?
What? It's a podcast. Things get cut.
Yeah.
Our listeners are gonna know this.
I'm gonna lose my mind this episode.
Did that hit,
Well,
Frankie?
let's see. I lost my mind in Doctor Who. Amanda lost hers, and Jeff. It's just your turn.
I think
Yeah.
that, to be fair, I think this is staying in because this did fucking.
It hit.
Oh my god! All right, please tell me about an Italian buck. Just tell me about this Italian puppet. God.
Oh, this is so much fun. This is a really good birthday present. Thank you, Frankie.
I'm begging you to tell me about this puppet.
So, Pinocchio, it was called The Adventures of Pinocchio. It was like a children's fantasy novel by Italian author Carlo, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this name. Collodi, Collodi.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's how it's pronounced. If I'm wrong, I'm sure you listeners will let me know.
Just say it with enough confidence that people will think you're right. That's what I do every time I come across a name.
I'm not. What is confidence?
I want to know either.
And it's basically about this carpenter who finds a block of wood that he plans to carve into a table leg. However, when he was frightened after the log cried out, he gives it to his neighbor Geppetto, who's an old man, and he carves it into a puppet and names the boy Pinocchio. He then
carving this block of wood was stabbed pretty much and yelled out. But then it was stabbed again when it was going to be made into a child, and it was fine with that.
Different levels of stabbing.
Yeah, this one was carving, I guess, so it didn't hurt. Maybe, I don't know.
Carving sounds worse, actually.
Basically, Pinocchio is already alive, so like the blue fairy, or in this case, the tortoise fairy, doesn't have anything to do with him at the beginning. Eventually, Pinocchio gets like caught and he's mistreated and gets Geppetto like imprisoned or something. Pinocchio then goes back to Geppetto's house to get something, I think. And this is where this talking cricket warns him about the perils of disobedience and being lazy and stuff like that. So in retaliation, Pinocchio throws a hammer at the cricket, accidentally killing it.
Oh my god.
That doesn't sound accidental.
So Jiminy Cricket does make an appearance. He's not called Jiminy Cricket. He is an unnamed cricket, and he gets murdered.
Immediately. Fuck.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go through this whole thing, but there are some weird things. Pinocchio gets hung by a tree, like hanged.
But too bad he's a wooden boy, so he can't die.
Exactly. There's like a giant snake that comes in. There's a gorilla judge. He rides a pigeon to like the seashore.
The gorilla judge rides a pigeon?
No, Pinocchio does.
Oh.
Lampwick is in there though, and yeah. So, however, when Pinocchio becomes a real boy, he like gets a new body, so his puppet body is just kind of hanging out lifeless on the chair by the end.
That'd be funny.
That was kind of weird.
You
But
could play some sick pranks with that, though.
That's true. What
But
I'm
he
saying
was
is
warned about being a bad child.
Yeah, but he's already become a real boy, so it doesn't matter.
Truffles, why are you growling?
yeah, Truffles.
Oh my god, she's dreaming. She just woofed.
Aww. Don't dream of like maybe Truffles was a child that got turned into a dog because she was just
No, remember, she's a spy.
Oh, right. All I'm saying, and I put this out here just so that people know, this is a fucking weird thing to turn into a children's thing. I guess not weird for the 40s when this came out, the movie, but still fucking weird, especially by today's standards. I don't think I would let my children read a book about a puppet that kills crickets that are trying to teach him good lessons. And
I don't know if the cricket murder is like on the back cover, like in the description of the book.
Or when he gets hung by a tree for things.
Yeah, that's the more messed up
Well,
part.
when did the book come out? To be fair, public hangings were a big thing. People love that. It took the whole family.
It was like the 1880s, I think.
Yeah, people love that. It took the family to see that. Those were family events back then.
But they didn't in 1940. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but they didn't put that in the movie.
They didn't, but it's still a weird thing to want to base a movie off of, is what I'm saying. This is weird. So, with that being said, and we have the kind of background of Pinocchio, we're going to start. First off, we kind of talked about this before. I like the title sequence whenever it shows up. If the title sequence is somewhat engaging and has engaging music, I wasn't a big fan of this music for whatever reason.
You don't like When You Wish Upon a Star?
I don't mind it, but I like it with the lyrics. I don't just like it on its own. Anyway, so we open up with Jiminy Cricket and the Pinocchio book, which the Pinocchio book is a boring ass book compared to the Snow White book that we just saw the last time. Boring looking book. It goes and it's talking about Jiminy Cricket, how he breaks and enters into Geppetto's house, warms his ass by a fire, which he does do. He walks in on Geppetto, creating Pinocchio, and Geppetto's talking to it.
Pinocchio looks creepy without a mouth.
That is true. He does. He does look creepy. However, I really didn't pay that much attention because my favorite character has already come into play.
Your favorite character?
It's the kitty.
Oh, Figaro.
Figaro, the kitty. Figaro makes this fucking movie.
The cat is really cute.
I love Figaro. It has nothing to do with me being a cat person. This cat's got personality.
It's a cute kitty.
Very cute. I love him.
Also, it's a tuxedo cat, and I like a good tuxedo cat.
It's not even a cat. It's a kitten. That is a kitten.
It is so cute.
It's a very.
I also like the fish.
Too. Oh, Cleo, yes.
Mm-hmm.
His little water baby. I think that's so cute.
I like that they're friends.
I do get a little confused towards the end with Cleo and how Cleo has managed to survive, but we'll get to that later. They both give their opinions on the name Pinocchio, and they're both like, no fucking way. We don't like this name. And Pinocchio and Geppetto's just like, you know what, we'll ask the little wooden puppet, and like makes the puppet nod his head and like, yeah, you like Pinocchio. If I was a cat, I'd be a little offended that nobody took my opinion into account.
Do you think a lot of people are taking cats' opinions into account?
Well,
I take my cat's
just
opinion.
Spark, and I think she said she doesn't like the name either.
Yeah. Cleo also does not like it as well.
You got 3 animals against.
And then Geppetto picks Pinocchio up and starts terrorizing his cat with it.
Worst scene in the whole movie.
No, definitely not. But
are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure it's not the worst scene of this movie. Did you not watch this movie?
I did watch this movie. There's a reason I've only seen it in bits and pieces, and I've never sat through it the whole way.
Yeah, I feel bad. The poor little kitten. Yeah, this cat just gets terrorized. He makes the puppet kick the kitty's butt and then scares the kitty off the steps. Not nice. I like playing tricks on my cat as much as the next person, but this is a little mean. By the way, I forgot to mention Cleo is a very flirty ass fish.
Yeah, unnecessarily flirty.
Yeah, they made her sexy. They made a sexy fish. Kind of like Angelina Jolie's character in Shark Tale. They did not need to make her a sexy fish, but they did.
They did not. They shouldn't have, to be fair.
I will say, so after the poor cat is tortured and terrorized, all of these clocks start going off. And I will say, I think this is really funny because they show a shit ton of clocks and what they do and everything and the exact time on them. There's one clock where this little boy is getting spanked.
Yep.
Which was weird.
I think the clocks are all pretty cool, though.
They are cool.
Minus
like
the spanking
someone
one.
sat there and hand drew all those clocks.
And I do really appreciate that creative, like all of those creative ideas, and like even the music boxes I thought were creative. Like the way this village and like the background and the things in it are designed is beautiful, and I do like that. However, the spanking one was weird. But after all these clocks go off, I could not help but chuckle when Geppetto's like, I wonder what time it is, and then checks his own watch.
Well, the
That was
watch is
hilarious.
closer.
The watch is closer. And it's 9 o'clock, so that means it's his bedtime. I mean, at first I was like, man, that's really early to go to bed. And then I was like, this guy's an old man. I get it now.
Yeah, I'm an old man. I go to bed at 9 o'clock sometimes.
That's fair. He says goodnight to the fish, and then this cat. This is like my cats are spoiled, or I thought they were spoiled. They're nothing compared to this cat. This cat has his own wood carved bed with a blanket next to Geppetto's bed that he can lay in.
That's not
Man,
spoiled. That is basic necessity.
he treats
Also,
his pet so well.
his litter box is a very nice litter box. It has like a little shovel and thing next to his bed. His bed, by the way, has like wooden carved like cat angel on it
Yeah,
and
that way you
stuff.
can tell it's his.
Yeah. So like a lot of detail went into this bed. This cat is spoiled. So Geppetto says, hey, I wish Pinocchio was a real boy. Wouldn't that be neat? And they go to bed, and then right as Figaro falls asleep, Geppetto's like, you know what? I forgot to open the window. Can you do it? And Figaro, like, this is what I do whenever somebody wakes me up in the middle of the night. He, like, kicks off his blanket. He, like, gives him a look and whatever. And then he goes and reluctantly opens this window and then almost falls off the goddamn windowsill because he's a kitten. Which, by the way, my cats don't open windows for me.
Also, Geppetto was closer to the window.
That is true. And,
Get
he's
up.
bigger.
Yeah, you can reach the window. This cat can't and can barely open it, my man.
Yeah, that's not nice. He sees this wishing star once Figaro opens the window, and he says this line, and I do love this: "Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might, may have the wish I make tonight."
Clearly, there were more stars in the sky.
Is that where we get the starlight, star bright then?
Yes.
Because that's what I would say to wish on stars as a child.
Yeah, this is where it comes from. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, readers, but I'm pretty sure this came out in like 42? Yeah. I'm going to assume so, yes. So then he falls asleep, and Jiminy Cricket, which, by the way, this is not Jiminy Cricket's house. Jiminy Cricket is trying to sleep in a place that he is trespassing in, and yells at people and things around for being loud.
I get
The
that though.
clocks start ticking and snoring and things.
I get it though. That house is loud
Too many clocks.
in the middle of the night. That'd be impossible to sleep there.
It's not his house. He didn't have to sleep there.
You want him to sleep in the streets?
Yeah, I don't come to Hannah's house whenever I stay over, and like whenever I hear her dad snore, I don't go into his room and yell quiet.
You could.
That's-
We would appreciate you for it.
That's different though. That's someone snoring. This guy's got clocks going nuts.
Geppetto was also snoring.
Yeah, but I think he was more upset by the clock.
I don't care. Anyway, the blue fairy makes an appearance. Which, by the way, this fairy fucking hot.
She kind of slays.
She Snow White who? All right. Damn. If I was questioning my sexuality, I'm not anymore. I definitely like men and women now. If I didn't know that before, I did, but she's like, Geppetto, you deserve to be happy. I forget. Does she say exactly? Oh, because he's given so much happiness to others, so he deserves his wish to come true. This kind of makes me curious because, like, was this really his greatest wish? Because there wasn't a lot of build up to this. He's only kind of like casually mentioned it.
But
So
he's an old man and like an old bachelor, never married, never had kids, and that's what he wanted, but he just never got around to it.
he's too busy making wooden toys.
Yeah, he's too busy being Santa.
Do you think Santa like buys his toys from Geppetto?
Outsources some work, maybe.
Yeah. So the blue fairy brings Pinocchio to life. Pinocchio is like, whoa, I can move, I can talk, I can walk, and falls on his ass. I do love this. The blue fairy's like, Pinocchio, I've given you life, and he's like, Why?
I mean, a fair question.
I mean, yeah. And then she's like, but, Geppetto made this wish and it's up for you to make the rest of it come true. You have to prove yourself to be unselfish, good, something. Brave, truthful, and unselfish. And then he could become a real boy. And then she talks about right and wrong. And of course, Jiminy Cricket can't keep his mouth shut and just starts yelling at him. What's a conscience? I'll tell you. Like, you weren't involved in this conversation, sir.
Well, he's become involved. He's helping out.
He inserted himself into the conversation.
And then Pinocchio asks, "Are you my conscience?" And Jiminy Cricket's like, I don't know. And then the blue fairy flutters her eyelashes and is like, "Would you like to be Pinocchio's conscience?" And he gets all like, "Well, sure, ma'am," type
Yeah.
thing.
He got a whole job, like a really big job, a lot of work involved because he can't say no to a pretty girl.
Yeah. And that is a common theme. Like he has a thing for like pretty girls or pretty girl looking things.
He's a bit of a ladies' man, Jiminy Cricket. I didn't
A
realize.
little bit. I forgot about it. I'm guessing this is where that adult humor comes into play that I guess I didn't notice as a kid. And then he gets all of this nice stuff and then asks for more. He's like, "Do I get a badge? Make it a gold badge." Like,
He got
chill the
knighted
fuck
too.
out. Yeah, he got a lot just now and he's asking for more. Chill the fuck out, Jiminy Cricket. And then he's looking at himself in the mirror and then Pinocchio shows up and he's like, "Oh, I almost forgot about you. I'm sorry. You almost forgot about the job that you just got. You have nice clothes now and like a title and shit and you forgot the reason you got it."
Well, I mean, he didn't work his way up for this promotion. He was just handed
Make
it on a
excuses
silver
for him.
platter.
He might have got COVID.
I'm
That
not,
affects your
because
short-term
I'm
memory.
saying this all sarcastically. Like, he didn't
Anyway.
want this job. He just wanted the pay that came with it.
I don't think this job pays, to be fair.
No,
nice
but now he's
clothing.
not a squatter. He's allowed to live there.
Is he? I guess you're right because he's Pinocchio's conscience. All right.
Mhm.
Anyway, they sing a song, like give a little whistle or whatever, which is cute.
It was a good song.
It was a good song. I forgot about it.
I did too.
Pinocchio falls off the shelf, makes a bunch of noise, and scares the shit out of Geppetto, Cleo, and Figaro. And Geppetto's like, "Who's there?" And Pinocchio's like, "It's me." And Geppetto's like, "Oh, okay, it's you." And then he's like, "What? Who the fuck is in my house?"
What a good joke.
Geppetto lights a candle and grabs the gun that he keeps underneath his pillow.
That gun is huge. That's a fucking cannon. He's got a mini cannon.
It is. And then when Figaro meows, he uses the gun and basically puts it up to his face to like shush Figaro. This man should not be a gun owner.
Would you prefer it to be a knife?
I'd prefer it to be nothing. I don't know if I would trust him.
It's the 40s though, so you know.
The Pinocchio scares him by touching Figaro. Figaro jumps into Geppetto's like nightshirt thing, and Geppetto shoots the gun off in fear. Then one of the cutest moments that I love is Figaro's disappeared. You just see Geppetto, and then all of a sudden Figaro pokes his little head out of Geppetto's nightcap. So cute. I love this cat so much. Geppetto thinks he's dreaming and goes to dump a bunch of water on himself. Thankfully, he doesn't use Cleo because that was what I remembered, and then I remembered later on that he dips Pinocchio's burning finger into Cleo's water bowl, and that's what I was thinking of because I knew something rough happened to Cleo. But I guess he went to his own little water supply and dumped water on, and he's not dreaming. Pinocchio's alive. He can talk and everything. And they start dancing and all that. And then Pinocchio, being made of wood and not knowing anything about the real world, sees a lit candle and starts trying to play with it, along with Figaro. Figaro's not helping this matter because Figaro's also batting at the candle. So Pinocchio's finger gets caught on fire, and Geppetto's freaking out. He's like, "We need water, we need water, we need water," and finally dunks Pinocchio's finger into Cleo's fishbowl. And Cleo's fishbowl basically just fills with smoke, and the poor fish just gets smoked out.
Jiminy Cricket did try to help. He had a hat full of water.
He did, but he tripped over himself.
New shoes.
Do not. Do not blame this on the fairy.
New shoes. He's trying to get used to his new shoes. You know, sometimes you gotta like when you get new shoes, you gotta wear them for a bit to adjust to them, to break them in.
Yes, I used to be a figure skater. I remember breaking in new skates. It was often painful. You know what, Frankie? I never tripped over my own feet because I was breaking in new shoes.
Well, this is a cricket.
Just say he's clumsy.
He doesn't have as much balance as you.
Just say he's clumsy.
Did he wear shoes before he got the new threads? I don't remember.
He had shoes, but they were like homeless people shoes from the like when people depicted homeless people in the 40s. So his like feet were sticking out of them.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot what he was dressed in.
If you imagine what like how they would depict homeless people,
I'm
but
just
then picture
depicting
a cricket.
rag around his foot.
That's kind of, yeah.
I have another question for you, Amanda.
Yes.
What would you do if you were in Geppetto's situation? A puppet has been brought to life and he's saying he's your son.
Well, first off, thankfully I live with my mother. And I would ask my mom if I'm going crazy or not. And if the puppet actually did come to life, I'd let her deal with it, and I'd check myself into a nice little padded room for a little bit and have a nice little sabbatical.
Have a little grippy sock vacation.
Yes. I know myself well enough to be like, that's not normal. I'm gonna make sure. And then when I come back and I find out it's real and my mom has been caring for this idiot puppet, I'm gonna probably feel a little bad. But that's how I would handle this.
You think your mom's going to raise Pinocchio? You don't think she's also getting rid of it?
Knowing my mother, no. And if you knew my mother, which I know that you do, you would also know that she wouldn't get rid of the puppet.
No, she would try to feed it.
Yeah. So Geppetto was finally like, we gotta go to sleep before you do anything stupid, because you gotta go to school tomorrow. And he's like, why? And this is the most realistic depiction of a child I've ever seen in a movie. Because Pinocchio just keeps asking why after Geppetto says things. The only thing that is that doesn't like compute and is not realistic is that Pinocchio stops asking why after Geppetto says because. Children
no, you
don't do that.
Continue why for like 5 more minutes.
That could, yeah, that definitely would. No, not 5 minutes. Like more like a couple hours, a lifetime.
His next question should have been because why?
But they didn't. He just stopped.
My next question for Geppetto is, why are you sending the puppet to school the very next morning? Why aren't you waiting like a week?
Truancy laws. Got to avoid them.
Does he count as a real boy though, Frankie?
He's not a real boy, but you don't want to get in trouble.
Is he registered in the school district yet? I don't
Apparently not. Probably not, but like that's why he's bringing the apple.
Just gonna show up, be like, "Hi, teach, I'm here."
What a shock to other people too. Don't get me wrong, I like Geppetto. Truly, I do. Very shocking to have a wooden puppet. I think you'd want to introduce him around the village and like make sure that people don't like drive you out with like.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Very shocking. In the same village that has a walking fox and cat, and no one bats an eye.
All right, fair enough.
Shouldn't Geppetto be like accused of witchcraft?
Realistically, yes.
I guess because he's a man. No.
Men were accused of witchcraft.
I mean, yes, but not as much. But I guess in this case, yeah, he probably would be.
I don't think he would. We got Honest John walking around. No one cares.
Anyway, Geppetto like sends Pinocchio off to school on his own. Does Pinocchio? It's the next day. Does Pinocchio even know where the fuck he's going?
But he's gonna follow the other kids. This scene also had one of the creepiest fucking things I've ever seen.
Oh, is this where Pinocchio turns around?
Yep. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, he keeps his head still, but he turns the rest of his body around.
Don't do that ever again.
I think Pinocchio should be reanimated, but as a horror movie.
It'd make a great one. It
would be amazing.
There was
because then you can make it psychological, where the village think Geppetto has lost his mind, saying it was my puppet Pinocchio.
I do know, I can't remember where this was, but there was a horror maze called Pinocchio Unstrung. I think it might have been at Knott's Berry Farm or something like that. But it was basically what would happen if Pinocchio didn't get to turn into a real boy, and it was messed up. There's a Wikipedia page about it, or a wiki page about it. It's really cool. One of my favorite haunted maze attractions. Thought it was dope. Highly recommend. So you can watch it on YouTube. I don't know if it's still around.
Thank you. I will be deep diving into that later tonight.
Yeah, it's called Pinocchio and Strong. Geppetto sends Pinocchio on his way, and Figaro's gonna go with him. If this cat went with Pinocchio, Pinocchio would have gone to school. Almost assuredly.
I think the cat should have been allowed to go.
I know. He's like, school's not for you. What do you mean? School's not for
School is not for a wooden puppet.
Yeah.
Not even 12 hours after he was birthed.
Yeah, that cat should have gone. So Honest John and Gideon make their appearance, and they bring up Stromboli, who has this marionette show, and they're just like, he's back in town, because exposition, plot development, all of that. So they see a wooden boy walking, and they're like, we're gonna sell him to Stromboli. So they sing a song and trick him like, hey, you want to be an actor. Meanwhile, where's Jiminy Cricket? Frankie, where's Jiminy Cricket?
Well, he slept in. He's tired.
Yeah, he slept in. He's late on his first day. Some kind of good fucking conscience this guy is.
It's not all on Jiminy. Geppetto should have walked him to school.
That's fair. That is fair. He should have. But Jiminy also has a fucking job. And he's slacking already.
Someone decided to have a party in the middle of the night.
The middle of the night?
And keep everyone up.
10 p.m.
That's we don't know the time when they woke up.
Enough time for the kids that normally wake up to go to school.
Yeah.
So not that early. Jiminy finally catches up with Pinocchio and he's like, hey, you got to tell him that you're going to school or whatever. And of course, the moment Jiminy Cricket leaves him alone or like hides in the little flower, Pinocchio turns around and is like, bye, Jiminy, I'm going to go be an actor. And Jiminy's like, what?
It was a very convincing song, though. So
it's a good song.
It's okay.
It's in good performance.
Yeah, it was a good song.
It's the most famous part of this film, I think.
Whoa, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's the second most famous song. Third most famous song.
When You Wish Upon a Star, number one, I've got no strings.
I said most famous scene, not song.
Oh, I think the string scene is more famous. And the donkey scene.
Yeah,
wait, this isn't I Got No Strings?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not. No, we were talking about the song that Honest John sings to trick Pinocchio.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about No Strings.
No.
Oh, no, I was talking about Honest John.
That's why no, this is not the most famous scene or song. I was thinking No Strings to Hold Me Down.
No, I was thinking about High Diddly D. High Diddly D, An Actor's Life for Me.
Yeah, no, not as famous. No, I don't know. I jumped ahead.
But it's a convincing song, though. He gave some very convincing.
I stand by that statement. Yes.
Arguments.
Mm-hmm. No, they cut forward to like nighttime, which, by the way, I have a real big problem because this all seems to take place over the span of like a day. But as we'll get to later, like cobwebs appear in Geppetto's house, and like they'd been like Geppetto says something when they were in like the whale's belly about like being there for days or whatever. So time is like an illusion here, it seems.
Does time move differently on Pleasure Island?
Maybe.
That is true. That could be. But that's never explained.
It's not explained how they turn into fucking donkeys either, but...
That is not true. I'll get to that. Pinocchio performs his song, I've Got No Strings, which, Hannah, you're right, is probably the second most famous song, probably the most famous scene, though.
What a good scene. What a good song.
Please, Frankie, insert my statements I was saying earlier here.
Yeah, I'll just rearrange them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't do that.
He did not rearrange them.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to rearrange them. That sounds like
Definitely
a lot of work.
Well, I will say this is the most famous scene in the movie with one of the most famous songs from the movie, and it's a very good scene and a very good song.
So anyway, Pinocchio performs and he's a success. Yay! And Jiminy Cricket is like, I guess, starting to doubt himself. He's like, well, maybe he can be an actor. Good golly. I guess he's not going to need me anymore. What would an actor want with a conscience anyway? That's a good dig. That's a good dig. So once Jiminy leaves, Geppetto's like pacing. I feel so bad for this man. He's like pacing. He's made this giant elaborate meal. Figaro's in his little high chair, like smelling this fish. He's like ready to eat.
What? I want to be this guy's cat.
I know.
Or his
Like,
fish. His fish got a whole nice, like, huge piece of cake to eat.
yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna go search for Pinocchio again because he's not back. Nobody can eat anything. And Figaro goes to eat something, and the fish is like, no eating. Figaro's like, fuck, fine. But he looks so sad
I'd be
because
sad
he
too.
can't eat. And then he's just pissed off. Love this cat.
That
So
meal
then we
looked
come,
good.
yeah, it did. Even if it was fish. I guess cats like fish though, so I get it. So we cut to Stromboli and Pinocchio in Stromboli's little wagon thing. Stromboli's counting his money. He was a success and everything and blah 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 blah. And then Pinocchio's like, yeah, I'm gonna go home to my father. I'll see you tomorrow. And Stromboli's like, fuck, no, you're not going to your dad's, and locks him in a bird cage that he just has, I guess. He's like, and once you get too old, I'm gonna turn you into firewood. Kind of scary.
We've now entered the dark part of this movie.
Part of the dark part. I will say they definitely, this is like that I will say with this particular scene, I don't like this Romani stereotype. They use like the word gypsy, which is not okay, and perpetuating this really kind of mean stereotype. Not true, not cool. Bad job, Disney. But he is really kind of scary, just to be fair. He's cutting bread with knives, like a giant ass knife. But that's a sword, actually. Would you call that a sword?
I'd call it a sword.
Yeah, he's like cutting bread with a sword and like stabbing food and eating it like straight off of the sword. Like it's kind of scary. I'm scared, and I'm 26.
He is an
Although
effective villain.
I've eaten food right off of a knife before.
What about a sword?
I don't own a sword, but I don't know. Maybe I would.
Especially the firewood thing where there was like a half chopped up puppet. I remember being as a kid like, "Oh shit, Pinocchio's gonna die!"
Oh, I didn't
Like,
notice that.
really?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. If you looked at the firewood thing, there was an axe in like the chest of a puppet.
That's dark.
So we cut back to Jiminy, who's like, "Man, he doesn't need me. There he goes. He's in his wagon. I'm gonna wish him good luck," and thankfully he does, because Jiminy comes back and sees Pinocchio trapped in this bird cage. He tries to unlock the lock, but Jiminy's bad at things and he can't unlock the lock. And he's like, well, I guess we're trapped in here. Doesn't even try to be like, I'm a cricket. I bet you I could sneak the key or something. Like, whatever. So he's just like, yeah, we're trapped.
I
And
feel like
Geppetto's still,
Pinocchio should be, since Pinocchio is wood, I feel like he should be strong enough to bend the bars.
yeah, these bars do look like they're made out of twigs.
Yeah,
But
it's a
maybe
very thin bird cage.
but maybe he doesn't want to break the wood because he's wood. I don't know. That might be a weird moral thing for him. Anyway, so cut back to Geppetto still looking for Pinocchio as the wagon passes him that has Pinocchio in it. Pinocchio's still crying, and Jiminy's like, cheer up. And all of a sudden, the star starts moving closer to them, and they're like, oh no, what do we tell her? What do we tell the blue fairy? Jiminy's like, tell her the truth. And of course, he doesn't tell her the truth. So he starts lying, saying that he ran into a monster. He got put into a sack, and Jiminy got put into a small sack. And his nose just keeps growing and growing and growing until it grows a bird's nest and then hatches eggs that then turn into tiny little birds and then lies again, and the leaves fall off of his branches.
I gotta say, first of all,
Uh-huh.
I did not. It's so iconic of like the idea that Pinocchio lies and his nose grows. It's only in this scene.
Yeah.
They don't ever like do anything with that again. And I also misremembered the movie badly. I had my fucking a Mandela effect thing going on here.
What did you think happened?
I did not remember the fairy freeing him from the cage. In
Oh,
my mind, he used his nose to like get the key and then
oh,
retracted the nose back.
incorrect.
Yeah, well, yeah, I realized that.
But yeah, so the fairy frees them, and she's like, "This is the last time I'm going to help you," and she shrinks his nose back too, because he can't be walking around like that. It seems really heavy for his face. So they sneak out. He's like, I'm gonna head back home or whatever. We cut to The Red Lobster Inn.
Yeah.
Do you think this
Do
is
they
where
have
Red Lobster
Cheddar Bay
got?
biscuits?
That's what I was gonna say. Do you think this is where Red Lobster got their name? They were inspired by this.
Yeah, let's name our restaurant after where the villains meet in Pinocchio.
It's where
Someone didn't realize it when they were naming their restaurant. It was just like a deep, dark, not deep, dark thought. Just in the deep
subconscious.
recesses of their mind.
Hey, Red Lobster's doing good. That's where Beyonce will take you if you give her a good dicking.
Whoa,
So.
what?
What, you don't know that?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's in a song. What is
Oh,
the song?
I don't listen to a
Hold
lot of
on.
Beyonce, so did you
Well,
know
that's your homework after this episode's over.
It's in the song Formation. Oh god, I gotta find it now. Give me a second.
Listen, you can't beat those Cheddar Bay biscuits.
did you
You
know though
can't.
they lost a lot of money for a while
Why?
because they did that all you can eat shrimp and people on TikTok were like trying to beat it, like pay the price for all you can eat shrimp, and they're like, we're gonna try and eat as much shrimp as possible to beat the price, and they lost like millions.
Well, oh, here
People
it is.
can eat a lot of shrimp.
Yeah, they didn't
Here
think
it is.
about that.
The song
So
Formation, Beyonce quoted, "When he fucked me good, I take his ass to Red Lobster because I slay."
good line, I guess.
Iconic,
I
Frankie.
haven't been to Red Lobster in a while. I don't listen to a lot of Beyonce.
I'm disappointed in you.
In fact, I listen to no Beyonce.
I'm sorry. Are you trying to get this podcast canceled?
No, she's not my cup of tea.
Don't stop saying things. Cut this out.
I'm not cutting this out. I'm not saying she's not talented or good. She is very clearly talented and a good singer. She's just not my preferred kind of music.
I stand by Beyonce.
What do you mean? I'm not attacking Beyonce.
I'm not, I'm afraid of her fans. So
You're a BTS
just like
fan.
I'm
I think
afraid
you're
of Taylor
fine.
Swift fans. Anyway, we're at the Red Lobster Inn.
You want me to make another controversial statement or just shut my mouth?
Go ahead. You
Not
might
really
as
a
well.
fan of Taylor Swift either.
Oh God. So this podcast isn't gonna go anywhere. All right.
Cancel Frankie. Amanda and I will just do a whole podcast from now.
I'm not canceling Frankie. We need somebody to edit. And I like Frankie.
Oh, thank you.
Back to the Red Lobster.
For the record, Taylor Swift is always my top artist in Spotify rap.
My
so
top
please
artist
don't
is
cancel
always
our podcast. One of us at least likes one of them.
Hey, my top artist is Paramore. So.
I was gonna guess Paramore. So
yeah.
Does anybody want to take a guess who my top artist is?
BTS.
Yeah, it's BTS.
Wow.
The army will save us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the
Come
army
on, army, represent. Back to the Red Lobster Inn. Gideon and Honest John are here drinking with the coachman. He's just referred to as the coachman. This guy fucking, at one point, his face turns into the devil, it looks like a demon. Like his face gets like red, his ears get pointed. He's whispering like this plan to Honest John and Gideon because we don't need to find out about it.
Yeah, but they chose the worst lines to actually share with us because they share the lines, I want you to find me little boys, and then they share the line so I can take them to Pleasure Island.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
How about we choose different lines, Walt?
That's a little rough. That's a little rough. Was this before the Catholic Church scandals?
I don't know. I don't know when the Catholic Church started.
1940s.
I don't know, but probably before then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. Bad, Disney. Very bad. Shame on you.
No. This is some Christian propaganda because the coachman is Satan.
That's true.
So therefore, Satan wants to take these children to the questionably named Pleasure Island.
I will say,
therefore, it's Christian propaganda.
The coachman is scary.
Again, an effective villain.
His face turns red like the devil.
He's so scary. He scares Honest John and Gideon.
He whispers this and he's like, "What about the law?" and stuff. Like Honest John's like, "But what about the law?" Oh, there's no risk of getting caught. They're hesitant even, but they can't back out now, so they're gonna get a stupid little boy, Pinocchio, which target audience right there. they at least know who they're getting to be kidnapped and go to Pleasure Island. It's never explained why they're turning these kids into donkeys, but if you look at the crate,
spoiler.
Yeah, don't spoil this movie from the 1940s. This almost 100-year-old movie.
All right, fine, I won't, but I'm going to later. So Pinocchio's walking home, and Jiminy Cricket, of course, is like, "I'm gonna race you," and leaves Pinocchio alone. Shitty conscience. And what
Yeah,
happens?
this guy keeps messing up. This is his second strike. One more and he's out.
And he even said, I think he said, he's like, "I'm not gonna leave you alone again."
I don't trust Jiminy.
Nobody should. This is
I
why.
feel like if this was made today, Jiminy would be the twist villain.
Well, let's see what they did in the live action movie in 80 years when we record that episode.
Okay.
Honest John tricks Pinocchio and says that he's allergic. He doesn't say what he's allergic to, but he says he's allergic, and you have to go to Pleasure Island where it's happy and there's carefreeness and it's every day's a holiday and blah blah blah. And they sing the same song with different lyrics.
Yeah,
it's called a reprise.
Yeah, a little bit.
They're not that creative, but they're trying their best.
Pinocchio's riding on this wagon and he meets Lampwick, which this kid's mom must hate him.
Okay. This kid feels already like a chain smoker and an alcoholic at the age of like 8.
Oh, he is. We'll get there. Jiminy Cricket's just hanging on to the wagon, and he's like, "Well, here we go again." And Lampwick is he introduces himself, and Pinocchio introduces himself. And he's like, "Ever been to Pleasure Island?" And Pinocchio's trying to tell him, "Hey, Honest John gave me this ticket." But Lampwick keeps interrupting him, and Pinocchio never gets to speak.
Why is he so excited about the ticket? Anyway, like everyone's heading there.
I guess he thought it was nice. Anyway, there's a shit ton of kids in this wagon. And then they get to the steamboat where there's a shit ton more kids. This looks like a small ass village. Where are these kids coming from?
It's also the second most terrifying image when they're showing them all in the wagon, and it's like the long shot, so you don't see it, like everything, you just see the wagon moving, and the kids are just like blank faces with open mouths.
Yes.
Horrifying.
Yeah, so they get to Pleasure Island, and if I'm honest with you, if somebody took me to this place, I'd be like, this is boring. This is somewhat boring. There's a weird animatronic that's standing outside of this place called the Rough House. It's like, "The Rough House, get in the Rough House, come get in a scrap," or whatever. Lampwick and Pinocchio are eating pies and ice cream, which I do like pies and I do like ice cream, and a whole ass chicken.
You got dinner and you got dessert.
Yeah, and they go in and they get into a fight. They go to Tobacco Row, which they have, the Native American stereotypes. Also not chill, but they go to Tobacco Row, which I will say, Tobacco Row doesn't sound like a terrible name for a tobacco shop. But
you mean other than the fact that this is being directed at children?
Yes.
Yeah, Pleasure Island looks like it smells, and I would not want to be there.
It does kind of look like it smells.
It has smog.
And then there's the model home open for destruction. Do they just rebuild this all the time? Like, that has to cost a fortune in renovations. But these kids just come in and destroy.
They got some kind of magic going on that island, so maybe it's not that bad.
The devil runs the island. We've established this. He uses his devil magic.
Lampwick breaks a stained glass window, which kind of hurts my heart because stained glass is really hard to make. And then we see the coachman. He cracks this whip and has these weird ass black blob creatures closing the door, which leads me to believe Hannah is correct and these are demons.
Yeah, they're fucking shadow people over there. Where did they come from?
I don't know. They're never explained, but they shut the door. Jiminy is looking for Pinocchio. Why didn't he get with Pinocchio while Pinocchio was on the wagon?
He was on the wagon. No, he was on the wagon.
No, why didn't he jump up to Pinocchio? Or on the boat, why didn't he try and get with Pinocchio?
I think
he's just wandering around.
It's because if he gets seen by someone else, then they might kill him or throw him away. He's just a little cricket. He's just a little guy
taking his break.
His union break.
Yeah. He's in a union now.
He's just a little guy.
Jimmy is walking around going, Pinocchio, where are you? And if he was smart and knew that he was in a movie, he'd realize that Pinocchio's in the giant 8-ball pool house thing that Disney is zooming in on. But he doesn't know that he's in a movie. So he walks past it. Lampwick and Pinocchio are there playing pool. Pinocchio is smoking and drinking. Lampwick makes him take like this huge like inhale of a cigar, and it turns his face green and it makes him sick. This actually, you know what? This might have been a deterrent for me to never smoke. I've never smoked. This might be it. I don't know.
Which is also the incorrect way to smoke a cigar. You're not supposed to take that big of an inhale.
Yeah, you're not, but he did. Jiminy finds him and he starts yelling, and Lampwick starts making fun of him. And Jiminy's like, I'm gonna fight this kid. This kid who could just smash his hand and squish him. He's like, I'm gonna fight this kid. And Pinocchio calls Lampwick his best friend. And that's where Jiminy's like hurt. He's like, oh, what am I then? Like, he's like offended. You haven't been there, sir. Every time he's needed you, you've been gone.
What do you mean he hasn't been there? They had a race.
So I don't think he deserves to be all huffy.
They had a race.
Shut up.
He was there when Pinocchio was born.
That's true.
So was the doctor that like helped deliver me. I'm not best friends with that doctor.
Have you ever met the doctor who delivered you? Because it's a very awkward experience.
No, why would I want to do that?
I bet you I have.
I've met the doctor who delivered me, and I had no idea what to say to him. Do I say, "Hey, nice to see you again. Nice to meet you"? What do you say? It's
nice
very
job.
Awkward.
nice you did job. Great.
Thanks for helping me not get stuck.
It was also at a funeral, so it was even more awkward.
Oh, well then you just go, "Hey, thanks for helping out back then." And then you walk away.
Yeah. Jiminy just fucking leaves, all huffy and stuff. And Lampwick says something about like, do I look like a jackass or whatever? Oh wait, that's later. Sorry, I'm skipping ahead of myself. Jiminy walks in on this weird little development that's going on where these donkeys who have children's clothes on are being pulled out, and if they can talk, they're put back in so that into Pleasure Island so that they can't speak anymore. Which this is fucking horrifying. The shadow creatures pull them out. It's fucking terrifying. And if you look at the crates, they're being sold to the salt mine, to the circus. So I guess the devil is making a shit ton of money. I feel bad for the poor Alexander donkey, especially because he's so sad. And he looks sad, and they all want to go back home to their moms. And I hope that eventually they get back home to their moms, but I doubt that they do because this is trying to teach kids a lesson. Anyway, back to Pinocchio and Lampwick. Lampwick's bitching, and he's like, you'd think he thought something was going to happen to us, and then he grows donkey ears. I will say, I love Pinocchio's face with this, because the moment Lampwick grows donkey ears, Pinocchio looks at the drink that he was about to drink, looks at it with horror, and puts it down and shoves it away. Then
a fair instinct thought.
And then when Lampwick grows a tail, he throws his cigar away after looking at it horrified. I think that's hilarious.
Again, a fair assessment. If I was in Pinocchio's situation and that happened to my quote unquote friend, I too would stop drinking and inhaling the smoke.
Yeah, so Pinocchio goes to laugh at him, and he sounds like a donkey. And Lampwick also starts to sound like a donkey. He puts his hand on his mouth, and he feels his face, and he's like, oh my god, I'm turning into a donkey. He looks into a mirror. He starts screaming. He's yelling for help, get the cricket. Then we get the most fucking horrifying scene. This is it. This sold me as a kid. I don't think I watched this movie for a couple years after seeing this, because it shows a close-up of Lampwick grabbing onto Pinocchio, his hands, and then his hands slowly morph into donkey hooves, and he just starts screaming and hee-hawing, and yeah, he's like, mama, and you see him turn into a donkey via shadow, and then a close-up, and he's just kicking and screaming and doing all the things that donkeys do whenever they're upset. Horrifying.
I gotta say, wasn't as scary as I used to think it was.
It's not, but I think that's because we're older and we've seen more scarier things. But for a child,
Probably. That's probably why. But I always in my mind had this idea that it was like this. It was still terrifying.
I was still unsettled by it at 26. I did not like it.
I had a
This part of the
question.
film.
Yes.
Two questions actually, because there's a point in this. There's 2 points in this scene that gave me questions. Pinocchio sticks his tongue out at Lampwick. Does he have a wooden tongue or wooden eyes? Like, what's that made of? What is that? What's going on there?
I don't know.
I would
Second
assume wood.
second question, very important. Would he turn into a wooden donkey?
Doesn't look like it.
Exactly, that's true, but like that's weird.
I guess devil magic beats fairy magic. I don't know. I don't have those answers. But apparently I questioned this, and of course I watched this with my mother, the peanut gallery. And I was like, why the fuck are they turning into donkeys? They don't explain this. Well, the coachman says something along the lines of if you act like a jackass, you soon will become one. They use the word jackass a lot in this, by the way.
Yeah, because it's not a swear word. It's literally just what they call the animal.
So Pinocchio grows donkey ears and a tail, and Jiminy finally catches up with him, and he's like, "Oh, thank God I made it!" And they run out towards a cliff that looks very similar to the cliffs that we saw in Snow White, but they are different. I looked,
The rock
but they
isn't
looked,
there.
yeah, but they look very similar, and I was like, "Oh, damn." Then they dive into the water and they come out and they're like, I'm gonna go home. And Pinocchio finally goes fucking home and they go and knock on the door. Geppetto's not answering. Jiminy looks in the window and has Pinocchio look in the window, and Geppetto's not there. Then this weird ass bird, that's definitely a blue fairy bird, comes in and drops this note that says, Geppetto was out looking for you and got eaten by a whale named Monstro. So Pinocchio probably does the smartest thing. Actually, I still wouldn't call this smart. I don't know if I would go looking for somebody and willingly get swallowed by a whale. I don't think he thought this through,
You wouldn't go
but
looking for your mother if she got swallowed by Monstro?
that's true. I would. So he does the smart thing and he goes to search for Geppetto at the bottom of the sea. So he ties his donkey tail to a rock and then jumps in. And Jiminy Cricket, for the first time, finally doesn't leave him alone because Pinocchio's like, goodbye. Jiminy's like, I may be live bait down there, but I'm coming with you. Now, I get why Pinocchio doesn't need to breathe air, but why does Jiminy Cricket not need to breathe air?
I was just about to ask that. How does Jiminy Cricket breathe underwater?
Do you got an answer for that?
I
Power
don't.
of being a conscience.
The power of being a conscience. All right, I'll take it. So Pinocchio and Jiminy are down there and they're asking all of these fish about Monstro, and every time they bring up the name Monstro, all the fish swim away. I will say the thing that freaked me out was there were donkey seahorses. There was a seahorse that looked like a donkey. Please tell me I wasn't the only one to notice this.
I didn't notice it.
Jiminy was riding a donkey seahorse.
I didn't notice that.
Go back and look it up.
I'm not gonna go back and look it up.
We cut to Monstro, who apparently is big enough to swallow whole ships. I will say, from where we see him sleeping, he doesn't look big enough to swallow whole ships, but he does get bigger and look bigger as we go through this.
Well, I thought Geppetto was like in a rowboat. So like
No.
a fairly small boat.
He's in a fairly big boat. He's got like a nice inside where they can sleep and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, okay. Well, why was I thinking he was in a rowboat?
I don't know. Well, he does end up building a raft.
I know they get a raft at the end, but I don't know why I thought he had just like a flimsy rowboat. I think I'm trying to make this make sense in my head.
Don't bother. So we cut to Geppetto and Cleo and Figaro inside of Monstro. Apparently Geppetto took them with him.
Well, we see that when they go to the house and Figaro's not there, and then the spot where the Cleo's bowl should be is also empty.
I know, but like, I wouldn't take my pets to go looking for somebody.
But then who would take care of them? They would die.
He doesn't have like a friend in the village or something?
He doesn't know who took Pinocchio.
I'm sure there's a reliable friend somewhere. Cut to Geppetto and Figaro and Cleo. Geppetto is fishing along with Figaro, who is tied string to his little tail I love this cat so much to try and help Geppetto fish. And Geppetto's like, not a bite for days. I am under the impression this is still one day, but apparently it has been multiple days because when we looked at Geppetto's house, there were cobwebs and everything. So I don't fucking know what's going on here. But Geppetto's like, we're gonna starve and stuff. And this is when I got to thinking, this poor man, all he wanted was his wish granted. He's getting all of this heartache and headache and everything. He thinks him and Cleo and Figaro are going to starve to death while looking for this wooden puppet that he views as a son that he may never get to see again. This is sad. This is a shitty ass wish come true.
Hashtag Geppetto deserves better.
He does. Like, this is mean. And he's like, yeah, we're going to starve if we don't get fish. And then, of course, Monstro opens up his mouth and starts chasing fish, swallows a shit ton of fish, and Geppetto gets a lot of tuna. So good for him. Pinocchio finally finds Monstro, and then when he finds him, tries to swim away from him, even though the letter said that his dad, Geppetto, was inside the whale's mouth. So he was going to have to do that anyway. I don't think he thought this through.
How does Monstro survive? It doesn't seem like he digests anything. It just makes it halfway through and then stops.
I don't know. Maybe he does digest. I mean, the boat did look like, there was some wear and tear. Eventually, I'm sure like the acid in the whale's stomach would kind of kill everything. But it's only been a couple days, so maybe it takes a boat a little bit to dissolve. Anyway, Pinocchio and Geppetto finally reunite because Geppetto fishes him up. And Geppetto is just so thrilled and so happy to have his son back. He's like, oh, Pinocchio, you're all wet and stuff. And he takes off his hat and sees the donkey ears. And he's like, what happened? And Pinocchio doesn't get to tell him the truth, which would have been like a testament to him, like, being truthful, which is one of the things Blue Fairy said. But Geppetto cuts him off and is like, I don't care. I'm just glad to have you back, which very cute. I like Geppetto. Truly, I do. So he's happy. He's like, we're gonna live here now. We have enough. And if this continues, we'll just live here for the rest of the time. Jiminy tries to avoid seagulls because he's trying to get into the whale's mouth, and he gets into a bottle. Geppetto said he's tried every way to get out, but nothing's worked. He even built a raft. And Pinocchio is like, we're going to make the whale open his mouth. How, you ask? By making him sneeze. Frankie, how would you get a whale to sneeze? Do whales even sneeze?
I don't know if whales sneeze, but I wouldn't use smoke, which is his idea. Smoke's never made me sneeze. It's made me cough.
Yeah.
I've never sneezed. I'd throw some pepper around.
Yeah, but
maybe some dust.
Pinocchio just starts destroying furniture and lighting wood on fire. So Pinocchio lights shit on fire and tries to. So Pinocchio goes and just starts destroying all this fucking furniture, and then takes a lamp and just throws it on this wood pile, and everything catches on fire. Because they're gonna make the whale sneeze by smoking him out, and it worked. Right? They get out, and then Monstro starts to inhale again, and as he inhales, they go back in, and then he sneezes again, and they shoot back out. And then Monstro's pissed, as anybody would be. They lit a fire inside of him, so he's chasing their asses down. Finally, the raft breaks, and Geppetto's like, Pinocchio, save yourself, or whatever. And Pinocchio doesn't do that. Instead, he grabs his dad and he tries to get him to shore as quick as possible. He ends up helping Geppetto make it to shore. By the way, the raft breaks, so we never see what happens to Cleo and Figaro. But then all of a sudden, once Geppetto makes it to shore, they wash up. Figaro washes up on a broken plank of wood, and Cleo just washes up in the bowl. Still in the bowl. Water fine, everything fine. She hasn't fallen out. No water, it seems like, has like gotten in or whatever. So
we can do a lot of stuff in these films, but animal cruelty is not one of them.
Cleo has a very funny moment that I forgot to mention. When Geppetto says that they're all gonna die, she starts building like her grave inside of the bowl.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's pretty, good job, Cleo.
Depressing.
It's
Um,
depressing, but very funny.
it's good. I forgot about it as well. Jiminy is out of the bottle and stuff, and he's looking everywhere for Pinocchio. And all of a sudden, they cut to Pinocchio fucking face down in water. Like, that's not fucking traumatizing.
He
Hey
should be
kids,
fine
look at
though, because he swam to the bottom of the ocean.
Right, which is what I was just going to bring up. Like, he can't. How did he drown from that?
also
So,
weird message until you get to the end. Like I know the end, spoiler alert, he becomes a real boy. But like weird message to go, hey, we've been telling all these kids to be brave and do the right thing, and when you do, you die.
yeah,
Even if you're a piece of wood.
yeah, it's fucked. It's very fucked. Fast forward, Pinocchio's laying on Geppetto's bed. This is quite amusing. Pinocchio glows blue and his ears disappear and he turns into a real boy. Um, Now this is a cartoon, but did anybody else think that Pinocchio having a real person nose like looked weird on him?
Yes, he's way cuter as a puppet.
He is.
I had
The
that
button
note
nose
written
did not
down.
work.
Yeah, he looks weird with a human nose.
Keep him a
He
puppet.
and Geppetto doesn't have a human nose. He has like a weird tomato nose.
You notice how they realize that he looks weird as a puppet too? Because like in all future appearances that he makes, he is a puppet, never the real boy.
Yeah, he looks weird. Pinocchio Pinocchio wakes up and he's like, Geppetto, or Father, why are you crying? And Geppetto's like, because you're dead, Pinocchio. And Pinocchio's like, no, I'm not. I'm right here. And he's like, yes, yes, you are dead. Now lie back down.
Geppetto's the best. I fucking love all those jokes that he like that.
Is pretty good.
I feel
Um,
like Geppetto's next reaction should have been, oh crap, my dead child is talking to me. That must mean I'm dead. Like, it should just be like, oh crap, I'm a ghost now. I'm in the afterlife.
yeah. So Pinocchio is like, I'm a real boy. And Geppetto finally looks up and he's so thrilled and whatever. And Pinocchio is a real boy. Yay. Figaro's so happy he leaps into Cleo's water bowl and kisses her. And
And
then
I
starts
lied. This is the most famous scene in the movie.
yeah. There's
Cleo and Figaro kissing.
yeah.
Is it? Is it Hannah?
Yes, it is. I think that Disney uses this in like their commercials.
They have. I
Like
remember
this
when
little
Pinocchio
like
came
bit. Yeah.
yeah. I remember when Pinocchio came out of like the Disney vault. This was like a big thing.
Yeah,
Um
yes, that's what I'm remembering.
A
yeah.
relationship that'll never last.
Yeah. So then Jiminy's also like celebrating and happy and he sees the star. He walks outside and he's like, "Thank you. Thank you, milady. He deserved to be a real boy."
Did
Um
he?
it, it was yeah. Well, and then he's like, "It was sure nice of you." And then the fairy keeps her promise and gives him a official conscience badge that looks like a star. That's solid gold too, just like he asked. And he's like, "I think it's swell," and he gets so happy. And he starts twinkling it at the star, and then he sings "When Your Heart Is in Your Dream." Um, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true, and then the movie ends.
A
I'm
very
putting this
fucked
under
up
Snow White.
film.
Oh, we're already on the ranking. Okay,
Yeah, I'm putting this under Snow White
as a movie.
as a movie.
As a movie under Snow White. So we have Snow White number 1, Pinocchio number 2. Now, we have two more rankings to do. One, pretty easy for me to ask. How would you rank him as a protagonist compared to Snow White?
What did I give Snow White?
Well, Snow White's at number 1. It's just like against them.
Oh,
So, is Pinocchio a better or worse protagonist than Snow White?
oh man. You know what? Pinocchio Pinocchio did make some choices. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he's better than Snow White.
Okay, a better protagonist than Snow White is Pinocchio.
Yeah, I Snow White just kind of let things happen.
Snow White is a very static character. Pinocchio, as you said, made choices. He
Yeah,
learns some things.
yeah. There's definitely some lessons learned here. What's
Now,
the next ranking?
the next one has to be there's a question involved before you do it. I'm only letting
Okay.
you have one. Who is the main villain of the film? There are four choices. It's a multiple choice question. You have Honest John and Gideon as a team.
Okay.
Stromboli, the coachman, or Monstro. They all act as antagonists and villains at some point in the film.
The one that scared me the most was the
Hmm.
coachman.
Okay.
Then, if I was ranking these villains, then I would rank after the coachman would be Stromboli, then Monstro, and then Honest John and Gideon are just knuckleheads.
Fair. Now, since we're gonna go with as
The
your number
coachman.
one villain is the coachman,
Hmm.
how does the coachman stack up against the queen?
Oh, way lower. The
Way
queen,
lower? All right.
the queen gave like some sympathies. Like I was somewhat sympathetic towards her. Like I knew where she was coming from. The coachman, I don't know why he was doing this. Like I have no
To make
that's the
money.
thing about Pinocchio's, yeah, money, but that's the thing about Pinocchio's villains is like there's not a lot of like character like explanation behind what they do and things like that. Like with Maleficent, which we'll get into, she wasn't invited to a party. I'd be pissed too.
I'd
But
be
there's
that
like no
pissed.
motive behind this aside from money. That to me is not a good villain make.
We had to rank the villain. Those are our three rankings we do for your project.
I'm very curious. Would you agree with me that the main villain is the coachman?
I would agree. It's a tough debate between him and Stromboli. I
My
would put the
initial
coachman above him.
my initial thought is to say Monstro is the main villain because he's the most iconic question mark out of the villains. I feel like when you think Pinocchio, you think getting swallowed by the whale.
Actually, the whenever I first went to Disneyland, the only villain that you could meet really was Honest John and Stromboli. The coachman was not a villain. So Stromboli was the one that I was kind of like before I watched this again, I was like, oh, Stromboli's the main villain. I guess because it relates to him being a puppet and stuff. But yeah, I after
I
watching it, I feel the
I
coachman.
I put Monstro even below Honest John and Gideon
Hmm.
only because Monstro is an animal acting on instinct. That's just what
He's
he
just
does
trying
as
to
an
eat.
animal. Yeah. He just happens to swallow a man and his fish and cat.
I
Um,
agree, Frankie. After rewatching Pinocchio or watching it really for the first time through,
mhm.
Monstro is just an animal. He's
But
just the most notable.
yeah, he's a very distinctive looking thing, and he is a frightening looking creature.
Yes, yes.
And one of the
The
many
scenes of him
reasons,
coming out of the water.
one of the many
Hmm.
reasons I won't step foot in the ocean. Who knows if that thing's down there?
The
I don't.
orcas are destroying yachts, so who's to say Monstro isn't out there as well?
Yeah, but the rest of the villains that we name, I agree. Honest John and Gideon are knuckleheads, but they Stromboli and the coachman are all making decisions to act like this.
Yeah, with the other thing too, like the coachman's plot scared the shit out of Gideon and Honest John.
Yeah, Stromboli is evil for what he's doing to Pinocchio, but
Yeah,
he is at his basic principle a carny.
right.
He's just a carnival worker trying to make some money. He's shitty to Pinocchio, and he shouldn't be doing that thing to Pinocchio.
Hmm.
But the coachman is like kidnapping every child he can and turning them into donkeys and then
Yeah,
selling them into slavery.
yeah. It's rough, and that our dear listeners is Pinocchio. Um, I would like this title of this episode to be something about how Jiminy Cricket sucks as a conscience and sucks as a character. Character. That's what I was going to say. Character. He
Jiminy
sucks as
Cricket
a
is a
character.
Nepo baby.
No, he's not even a nepo
I
baby.
know. I just
He
thought of
didn't
that off the top of my
Jiminy
head.
Cricket is a simp.
He is
There
a
we
simp.
go.
That's good. But yeah, no. Fuck Jiminy Cricket. They make him out to be like this awesome person in like Disney parks and stuff. After watching this movie, I really don't like him. That's
The
what I got.
Jiminy Cricket hate group.
Yes, I do not. I would join. I would join a hate club for Jiminy Cricket.
A hate club.
Well,
Someone
what's
The
the opposite
reverse of
of
a
a
fan club.
Yeah. What's the opposite of a fan club?
I
Yeah.
think it's better when it's called a hate society. It just
Oh,
sounds
all right. All right. Well, that's all I got.
all right. Well, I guess it's my episode next.
Are you gonna give us a little hint, or do you not
I
even have that?
I am gonna give you a little hint. I know what I'm doing exactly.
Oh God.
I want to continue. Not. I think this will be my little theme because Amanda, you've got your Disney project, and Hannah can always hit us with that literature stuff
Right.
that neither of us can really hit people with. So I want my little thing to be just freaks of history. Who are the weirdest fucking weirdos in history? And
I would like to make a request.
yeah, but I already got someone in mind.
Yeah, no, but for later on.
Okay. What's your request before I reveal who we're going to talk about next week?
I think his name was Phineas Gage.
Phineas
Um,
Gage. I
I
don't know who
think
that is. I'll have to look him up.
it definitely Phineas, but he had a railroad spike that went through his head.
See, I'm not talking
Oh, that
about
dude.
I'm not talking about carnival, like who people would classify as carnival freaks. I'm just talking
He
about
was a
He
real.
was
carnival
not a
freak.
freak. No.
He was a psychological like people studied him.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about just real weirdos, just real
Okay.
weird, strange people. And next week we're gonna talk about a man who it took a lot. He did a lot in his life, a lot of weird things.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call him Russia's greatest love machine.
Oh God.
We're of course talking about Rasputin.
Oh, okay.
This fucker.
Yeah, this fucker, the man who wouldn't die.
He does have my favorite villain song in Anastasia.
He has a good villain song.
Yeah, we're talking about the real Rasputin from his birth to his unexplainable death.
This is gonna be a long episode.
Well, this episode was a long episode.
We won't go into like that much detail unless like something really strange happens.
I'm excited for this actually, Frankie.
Yeah, we're gonna learn about Rasputin. Was he in fact Russia's greatest love machine? We'll find that out.
I
Maybe
don't
he
know.
was Russia's greatest con man.
He was that. I do believe he
Hmm.
was Russia's greatest con man. But we'll find out all about Rasputin and what he was up to with his weird little self. So that's next week. So let's take care of some business and we'll wrap up the episode. All right. Remember to follow us or subscribe wherever you are listening to our podcast. Remember to leave us a review, a 5-star only review on the app where you're listening to the podcast. That's all we want to see. Help us boost in the algorithm. If you want to leave us anything below a 5-star review, any constructive criticism you want to send our way, any ideas for an episode, any comments you have on an episode, any questions you want to ask one of the three of us or all three of us personally, you can send us an email. And Hannah, that email is
Nothing to see here podcast. As always, here is spelled HEAR.
if you want to see some amazing artwork done by our resident artist, Amanda, or
Please don't
any.
hype me up that
I'm
much.
going to hype you up. I'm going to
She
hype you
made
up.
our logo. She made us avatars.
Or
I shittily Photoshop things together and cannot compare to Amanda.
yeah, if you want to see some funny shit posts made by Hannah, you can follow our Instagram, which is.
Nothing to see here pod.
And finally, we would like you to share the podcast with some of your friends, some of your family, your enemies. Leave it playing for your pets when you leave the house so they have something to listen to and enjoy. I think that's it. So, saying goodbye, this is Frankie.
It's Hannah.
I'm gonna figure out how to fart on Hannah.
All right. Goodbye,
Rude.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.